If you haven't visited Central Library recently to view the new sculptures by California artist Peter Shelton, you're in for quite a treat. The new two-piece work of art known as thinmanlittlebird adorns each of the pedestals of the south entrance here at Central Library. As fascinating as this work of art is, the process of installing it was equally so. We think you'll enjoy this look back at the installation process, which occurred during the last week of April.
I had the privilege of chairing the committee of several people informed about the arts and some arts professionals. We started work 5 or 6 years ago. We began with a list of 60-some artists from all over Indiana, all over the United States, and some around the world. Several artists were invited to submit proposals, and for the pedestals there were 4 artists who were commissioned to do highly developed proposals. And when the proposals came in, Peter Shelton's was the unanimous choice of everyone on the committee, and as well as Evans Woolen, the architect of the building. So we were all very excited. I mean, to have looked at the images of first Peter's drawings, which are quite beautiful in and of themselves, and then the computer rendering that we had done, so we'd be able to sort of give a preview, and then finally to see the pieces themselves, and everything we've said, everything I've been saying about them for 6 years is true. I mean, they really are amazing works of art.
20-some years ago, when he did Floating House Dead Man here, which was down on the IUPUI campus in an old building, and I just thought it was terribly clever and inventive and creative, and also not just artistically, but from an engineering and a science standpoint. And I was not part of the selection committee, but when Ann told me that he was being considered and one of the finalists and all that, I thought, this is going to be a great choice if they pick him. So I'm really happy about it. And I know Ann is beside herself pleased. She's the prime mover in artistic efforts in our house.
Part of the job is to, on the design of the work, is to be a professional boy, followed by a professional warrior. Yeah, being a professional old man and a professional boy at the same time. Part of the idea was to make it seem unattached to the building in some way, and which, you have this pedestal which signifies gravity and foundation. So the idea of having the thing float over it was by itself a kind of idea about defying the weight and the gravity of the pedestal. But obviously, with it attached just on a tangent as it is, it makes it, you're not quite sure what its means of support are. So passing through, lighting down momentarily, on its way somewhere else.
I actually, when I first started with him, I helped him set up Floating House Dead Man in New York. And then from there I went out to his studio in California and worked for 3 years off and on.
What's it like working with Peter Shelton?
He's a very generous man. He's very nice. He's very kind. He's a slave driver.
Somebody will think that's demonic or something, right? I think it's been a very, very smooth installation so far, and so good planning, good professional people. It's gone about as smoothly as it could have. The superstructure will go up with Thin Man, and the superstructure, that truss work, had a variety of purposes. One is that it was a structure to assemble all the bronze and stainless steel that makes up Thin Man, which is made of probably 250 pieces, and that gives us a reference to be able to understand where it is in space, and it essentially creates a kind of three-dimensional, box that we can measure from. But it also, because it's trussed, it gives it a certain rigidity so that the form, which otherwise might be a little hard to pick up without putting stress on it, allows us to stand it up vertical without putting stress at any particular point. And also because the figure moves through space and isn't directly plumb, that is, its center of gravity for the figure isn't perfectly over its base, the frame allows us to pick it up and balance it and have the foot of it, which is a big stainless steel plate, be absolutely level in both directions, such that we know the figure will be in its correct attitude. And the frame will therefore be used to the point where at least the lower part of the frame, will take the upper part of the frame off once we stand it up vertically, and then we'll rig the lower part of the frame to literally pick it up and put it up on the building, and then once it's attached, the Thin Man's attached to the building, we'll remove the lower part of the frame.
Okay. Well, for the most part, my firm did the internal structures of both the Little Bird and Thin Man, and for me that entailed really coming up with the loads from both a wind and a seismic perspective, as well as gravity. And inside the Little Bird, there's a kind of a hexagonal hub and spoke system that kind of flares out and supports the bronze itself as it's in place. On Thin Man, some of the challenges there, in particular the wind and seismic, but inside that there's a stainless steel tube, kind of a skeleton, if you will, that goes up and kind of unitizes with the bronze so they work compositely to support the Thin Man in both a wind and a seismic event. The Little Bird is about 3,200 pounds in its finished state, and Thin Man is, I think, about 2,300 pounds. So not a lot of weight in a real structural sense. However, the configuration on Thin Man, being kind of tall and spindly, if you will, is pretty challenging. And then on the Little Bird, the way that it cantilevers off of the building is a particular challenge for the local Indianapolis engineers who worked on the support structure. The building itself doesn't have a lot of structural steel. Like if it was new construction, you could kind of work that into the framework, but this was retrofit construction, so you've got clearance issues, you've got how to sneak a frame in there and support it.
Well, we had unique challenges for each of these sculptures. I think the one they call Little Bird, I think the challenge is pretty obvious just looking at it. Don't want to sit it on top of a pedestal, which was designed to receive a statue, but we want it hovering above this. Yeah. First, they wanted to connect it to the limestone facade, and we told them, no, that's just not going to work. The second big challenge with that was, well, we can't connect to the facade, we need to put a structural frame behind it. But at that point, the library had already been, the interior finishes had already been completed on that back wall. So we had to figure out a way to drop something into the cavity, project something out of the wall to support Little Bird.